Here are the greatest legends of football, starting with the first one, the icon. During his youth, Cristiano Ronaldo was only an ordinary and quiet kid from Madeira, Portugal, until he stepped onto the football pitch. For his age, Cristiano had a natural rhythm and a speed that felt almost unreal. This talent urged Sir Alex Ferguson, Manchester United's manager, to push this young boy harder than anyone else. But when you stand on the biggest stage in the world, everyone expects you to fall. Today, we will talk about the baseless and bizarre ways people tried to target the biggest stars of modern football over every little thing. But in the end, their anger turned out to be nothing more than a joke. Cristiano Ronaldo has faced all kinds of criticism throughout his long career. But in this current era of 2026, things have reached a whole new level of absolute madness. When Portugal's manager drops him from the starting 11 and benches him during crucial matches, the so-called football experts on the internet take it upon themselves to completely cancel him. He is accused of playing only for his personal ego and individual goals, with absolutely no concern for his team's victory. Fans and media together created a massive narrative that Portugal plays much better without him, and that Ronaldo's presence has become a burden on the squad. But how dumb this attempt is can be judged by the fact that people want to erase his entire 20-year legacy based on just a few matches. Whenever Portugal faces a defeat, the entire blame is blindly pinned on this one single man. People completely forget that the greatest scorer of this era single-handedly carried Portugal and gave them an identity on the international stage. Declaring a world-class player as selfish and finished just because of a manager's tactical rotation or a temporary dip in form is proof of the fans' ultimate foolishness. These are the exact same haters who used to celebrate every single one of his goals, and today they are bent on ruining his career just because he sits on the bench. However, like always, Ronaldo has shut them up using his silence and hard work. The sheer disrespect from social media platforms ignores everything he built from nothing, from his days in Madeira to becoming a 5-time Ballon d'Or winner. Analysts spend hours breaking down his body language on the bench, trying to find any sign of frustration to spark a new controversy. They tweet about how his career is completely over every time he doesn't start, ignoring the tactical setups of the manager. It is a level of obsession that turns normal squad rotation into a global cancel campaign. Yet whenever he steps onto the pitch, even for a few minutes, his presence shifts the entire energy of the stadium, proving that you cannot cancel a legacy built on decades of absolute dedication and unmatched work ethic. Next, let's talk about Kylian Mbappé, who is currently facing some of the most bizarre accusations. Fans and the French media tried to cancel Mbappé by claiming that he is running internal politics within the team. He was labeled dictator and the real boss across the internet, with people saying that his massive contract is ruining the careers of other young players. Haters set up a whole online campaign against him, demanding he be removed from the team because his attitude had become toxic. But Mbappé delivered his response to this entire cancel culture right on the pitch. In the opening match of this 2026 World Cup against Senegal, the explosive performance he put on left everyone stunned. In the 66th minute and then again in the 96th minute of the match, he scored 2 such spectacular goals that the entire stadium erupted. With these 2 goals, he broke Olivier Giroud's record to become France's all-time leading goal scorer. Not only that, but he also surpassed Lionel Messi in total World Cup goals. After the match, he gave a direct reply to everyone trying to cancel him, saying that if he had paid attention to the haters, he would have never reached this position. Calling a world-class player greedy simply because of his confidence and excellent contracts was another incredibly dumb attempt by fans that failed completely. The media spent months painting him as a villain who controls squad selections, yet his teammates consistently praise his leadership and focus. The public backlash tried to turn his career into a political drama rather than a football journey. Every interview he gave was micro-analyzed by critics looking for a slip-up, hoping to fuel the narrative that he cared more about power than winning trophies for his country. When fans tried to trend hashtags to boycott his merchandise and demand his benching, they exposed how disconnected they were from actual sport reality. Mbappe's response on the field proved that elite performance is the best antidote to online toxicity, turning a massive cancellation wave into a historic celebration of football greatness. Now we come to Marcus Rashford, who was targeted for a completely different reason after being dropped from England's final squad. When Rashford experienced some ups and downs in his club form, fans accused him of abandoning football to focus purely on fashion and modeling. Questioning someone's professional commitment and blaming them for doing charity just because of a bad phase reflects the cheap mindset of these fans. Rashford has always actively participated in social causes, and instead of appreciating him for this noble work, mocking his omission from the squad showed the ugliest side of the internet. The online community forgot how much effort it takes to maintain elite performance while handling immense public pressure. They started circulating pictures of his fashion shoots every time his team dropped points, falsely linking his outside interest to his athletic form. Critics flooded his comments with messages telling him to stick to football, treating a human being like a machine that shouldn't have hobbies or passions outside the stadium. This attempt to cancel him based on his lifestyle choices was entirely foolish, because an athlete's worth isn't destroyed by a drop in form. The narrative that his off-field success was directly causing his on-field struggles became a favorite talking point for football pundits looking for easy views. Fans blindly repeated these claims, creating a toxic environment that completely ignored his past contributions to both his club and country. Trying to cancel an individual who has used his platform to feed millions of children and elevate social awareness, based purely on a temporary dip in performance, remains one of the most short-sighted campaigns in modern football history. Similarly, the story of Jadon Sancho is also highly bizarre. When he was excluded from the England squad due to disagreements with his Manchester United manager and poor form, fans dug up an incredibly dumb reason for his drop. People on the internet brought out his old gaming history and started claiming that Sancho stays up until 3 in the morning playing video games, which is why he cannot perform on the pitch. Fans tried to cancel him by labeling him unprofessional just because of a video game, which was completely far from reality. Blaming a player's personal time and gaming for the downfall of his career is the work of people who simply refuse to see the truth. Thousands of people joined online forums to track his gaming profile activity, turning a normal leisure hobby into a massive professional scandal. They claimed his reaction times were slower because of his nighttime gaming sessions, creating pseudoscientific theories about his fatigue levels without any actual evidence. This level of cyberstalking showed how desperate hackers were to find a simple scapegoat for complex tactical and form issues. A professional athlete's career involves intense training, tactical meetings, and immense psychological strain, yet the internet decided to boil it all down to a console controller. The cancel campaign grew so large that it began affecting his public image, with sponsors being pressured to drop him over a completely fabricated narrative of laziness. Sancho's private life was put under a microscope, and every poor touch during a match was immediately blamed on his gaming habits. This ridiculous attempt to ruin a young player's career over how he spends his evening free time demonstrates the height of internet absurdity and the toxic nature of modern sports fandom. Finally, let's talk about Jude Bellingham, who people tried to brand with the tag of ego and arrogance. Ever since this young star of Real Madrid took the world by storm, haters have been hyper-focusing on his every single expression and body language. If he shows anger on the pitch or argues with a referee, fans immediately rush to social media to cancel him by calling him toxic and overconfident. People claim that too much arrogance has gotten to his head at such a young age and that he needs to be benched just so he learns a lesson. But the truth is, Bellingham's aggression is his greatest strength, giving him the passion to win every single match. Labeling his fearless attitude as rudeness is the biggest mistake fans can make, because that exact attitude is what makes him the best midfielder of this generation. The cancel attempts targeted his leadership qualities, trying to reframe his high standards as a lack of respect for older players and officials. Critics created viral compilations of him shouting during tense match moments, demanding that his club discipline him for showing basic competitive fire. They wanted him to be a quiet, submissive player, completely ignoring that elite football requires an intense psychological edge. The internet tried to tear down his rapidly rising career by creating a narrative that his success had made him unmanageable. Every gesture toward the crowd was twisted into a sign of disrespect, and every post-match comment was picked apart to prove he lacked humility. This campaign to cancel him for possessing the exact elite mindset required to play for the biggest club in the world shows how absurd fan expectations can be. Instead of celebrating a young talent performing at the absolute highest level, critics chose to create a fake controversy around his personality, an attempt that completely failed as he continued to dominate the pitch.